Good morning, guys. It's a very early morning here for me in Michigan, and today is planting day. So I'm outside in the backyard where I have my raised garden bed, and today what you're going to see me do is take some of my cold crop vegetables and put them into the garden. So let's get into it. So just a disclaimer, it's a early morning day. You're going to hear some birds, you're going to hear some dogs, and you're going to more than likely see my dog running around curious. So let's get into it. So over here I'm starting with first the garden bed. I told you guys I purchased the galvanized garden bed from Shein. So I already have compost in it, I already have soil. So this right here, rich dark soil, is fertilizer. It's a Miracle-Gro organic raised bed garden soil. It's a fertilizer, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that down. I'll show you the bag later. This is my first year working with this. Previous years it's really only been compost and soil, and I may buy some Miracle-Gro fertilizer in a bead form. I've never used any worm castings. The worms come into the garden, so that has been successful. I know some people use them a lot. So I'm gonna try to go as fast as possible, guys, because it is going to rain, which is very good for me. I picked the right day to get some rainfall. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna get started with some curly kale. When I first started gardening, I didn't get a lot of instruction from my resource gardening group. I get my transplants and seeds from a place called Keep Growing Detroit in Michigan. It is one of the largest urban agricultural resource groups, and they sent out an email yesterday saying that they are now supplying gardening resources for 2,000 people. So congratulations. I started with them about 7 years ago, and they have grown so big. So this hand shovel I got from Dollar Tree, and it does have some measurements on it. I'm gonna go in at least probably about 6 inches deep with my transplant. You don't have to go deep. I'm just gonna wiggle at the roots a little. And once again, this is curly kale, and we're gonna take some soil and just go around it like that. That's good enough. Make sure you don't bury your veggies. And guys, honestly, when you overthink it, that's when you get all nervous. So it's nothing you need to overthink. Just know you're doing the right thing. And the right thing is starting with first-time gardeners. So I'm gonna get a little bit more comfortable. So yesterday, the weather in Michigan got up to 80 degrees in the Metro Detroit area. So I hadn't watered these cuttings that were in the window in about 2 days. So they really needed some water. Uh-oh, we got another little guy here. Believe it or not, there is some stem in there, so I am going to include him. Let's see. You may see my dog run by here in a minute. I didn't garden last year, so maybe she's a little curious. Guys, I have so many composted things in here. When I poured everything out into the bin, I'm finding so many things. I know last year I did some gardening in laundry baskets. Oh, there she go. And she, one day when she was bored, she kind of nibbled at the laundry basket. So when I went to reuse that soil, she there was a little specks of plastic in there. So this is the collards, and again, I'm just taking it and wiggling it around a little bit. I use my hands a lot, even with acrylic nails. I like to feel the roots, and that's fine. Now, I'm not talking about spacing, but as you can see, I did give enough space, a few inches. I'm planting them a few inches away from the other crops. Okay, so just wiggle that and put that in the soil. Yesterday I planted some wildflower seeds too. I'll have to show you guys where I planted them at. It's very good to have flowers around your vegetable gardens for the pollinators. And it's also a good thing to companion garden. Over the years, the only pest that I had was an insect called the tomato hornworm bug. It's larva from a moth, and it likes to eat tomatoes. So this year I'm going to be companion gardening with the tomatoes by putting some basil next to my tomatoes. I learned that from an influencer on YouTube. He said if you don't want those tomato hornworm bugs eating at your tomatoes or peppers, plant basil. So I'm going to be doing that. So I have lots of these collards. Seems like I didn't have a lot of curly kale. So I'm gonna take this one and put it here, and I have one more. I hope you guys can hear me. I have a tendency of being soft-spoken in the morning. So I hope you guys can hear me. So I'm gonna put this collard right over here. This other one, and I'm going to remember what it is, because the foliage on the curly kale and the collard looks totally different. I have planted both of them before, so I won't get confused. Okay. And yes, with the plants you can be gentle, but you won't hurt them. I mean, you got to be really, really rough. So for first-time gardeners, do not be afraid to touch your plants and do what I'm doing now. It's helping it get out of there. Okay, so this is a salad mix. I'm going to tell you, in previous years I haven't been very, very, very successful with growing lettuce because they really need a little shade, because once that hot sun hit them, they just wither up. So they looking nice and healthy. I gave them a good watering, and even in the house, they've been in the house over a week. I decided to keep them a little distance away from the window so they wouldn't wither. So it's looking good now. I just hope that's the case when the temperatures are consistently high. Now I've seen some people, again on YouTube, that's some type of decomposed compost. Okay. I've seen some people do this stacking planters gardening method, And what this lady did, she had the lettuce like tucked in at the bottom of these planters. So it was getting a lot of shade from a lot of the other vegetables. So it looked really good that way. So I'm trying to come up with a plan. The hot crops are, of course, not here yet, but I'm trying to come up with a plan to kind of give the lettuce some shade, because right now, where my garden bed is facing, there's no trees, nothing around. It's in full sun, which gardens need full sun to thrive. However, once again, when you got crops like, I guess that may be an undecomposed carrot. When you have veggies that you're growing like lettuce that are, they can't tolerate a lot of sun, you want to probably try to get a little shade. So if you guys see something white, there's some eggshells I threw out here the other day, like that. And when I got my compost out of the bin, some of it was right at the top. So those things at the top were not as decomposed. So they're in here, and that's fine. They would decompose. So those of you that have pets, honestly, Asa, because I've been gardening, she's 6, my dog, because I've been gardening ever since, I don't know, I guess the entire time I've had her, I had a garden. So she's curious, she does come over, but I haven't had a lot of problems with her messing with it. I seen her over here this morning looking. So I do not have any advice for pets. Oh, there's a little leaf. It's fine. It's just going to stay right here. The lettuce is growing really good. And honestly, I think, I'm already learning from my mistakes of previous years. And that's having it in too much sun and not giving it enough water. So I'm gonna just kneel up and get some more of this fertilizer for this side. And what we have left is some dino kale and cabbage. We're gonna leave the cabbage and let it have that big spot over there. So I do have some basils and salad turnips, so I'm gonna try to get some more in here, okay? Let's see. Yep. Again, I gotta mix that compost in better. We got a lot of chunks on top. Again, guys, what you see me doing is getting some Miracle-Gro soil fertilizer, adding it to the garden bed. That fertilizer was $10 a bag. That's why I speak so strongly on having, compost, because that's the major nutrients that you need. Guys, I'm finding everything. Oh, there's an orange peel. Just gonna stick that down in there. Okay. So how about we start over here with this cabbage. Guys, this is my first time growing cabbage, so we'll see how I do. Okay. With gardening, it's all about learning. You know, you have to be patient, you know, with yourself and, you know, give yourself some grace when you're doing something new. So again, I'm just gonna separate that soil a little bit. Cabbage needs a lot of space. What I'm probably going to do, I'm probably just going to put 2 of them in there. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these back in the house, and I'm going to end up planting them in a separate planter to see how they do, because I don't want to overcrowd this garden here. When you have something like cabbage, it needs a lot of space. So, I'm gonna dig a little. And again, when you start gardening, you don't have to worry about measurements and stuff like that, because you just kind of know. You kind of get a sense. You get connected with the earth. Okay. So there's that beautiful one, and I'm gonna plant the other. And then we're gonna get some basil in here. And we're gonna get this dino kale in here. And we're gonna give it a good water and watch it grow. I am spacing these cabbages very far away from each other because they're gonna need room to grow. So those other cabbages, I'm just going to leave them out here. Keep them watered. And then once I get a pot for it, I'll plant them. So that's what I'm going to do with the other 2 in there. So let's get our kale out of here. I love kale. And then I got a whole nother different planter too. I got a few kale because I'm gonna put some basil in here. Now the tomatoes are not in here, but the gardener who told me to companion garden with basil and tomatoes, you know, he said put a lot of it out there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna put a little bit. I'm gonna make sure that moth smells the basil, because once that moth smells the basil, the moth that lays the larvae for those tomato hornworm bugs, it doesn't like the smell of basil. And the smell of basil is much more fragrant and stronger than the tomato, so it won't be able to go over to the tomatoes and lay the larvae. So that's that. Okay. We got 2 more kales, and then I'm gonna put some basil in this patch, the basil seeds. If you guys are still watching, thank you. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. My whole goal is to inspire people, especially new gardeners, but we all are never too old to learn, so I could be inspiring somebody else to do something different. So if you like the content, hit that like button, share and subscribe, and go back and watch some of the other videos. Some of them about gardening, some of them about decoration. So, and there's more to come. So I got 1 more kale. And remember, guys, when you're planting, give your veggies some space. You don't want them too close to each other. The garden resource group that I get my transplants and everything from, Keep Growing Detroit, when they give you seed packs, or when they are holding educational classes, they do talk to you about spacing. You know, the depth that the veggie need to go, the space and all of that. So, oh, I gotta plant my spinach, guys. I love spinach, I forgot. So, I think we're gonna do a row of spinach here. Because I want to get the spinach started. And I wasn't thinking. So we're going to get some basil here too. Don't worry. But I'm going to do a row of spinach. These spinach seeds. So one seed every inch, 1 inch deep, in a row of 4 inches apart. Thin to 3 inches apart. Days of maturity, 30 days. So in 30 days, I'll be eating some spinach. And I'm excited. So guys, I'm just going to put a few in there, because with seeds, it's always a hit or miss. You never know if you're going to get anything. So as you can see, I sowed more than one seed to make sure I'm going to get something. Okay? So I do have to come up with a stick. I'm going to have to go in and write spinach on this so I'll know. Okay? So I have a little bit of space right here, and I'm going to put that basil down. I am going to have some transplanted basil that is already grown. I'm going to get it from my garden resource program in about 2 weeks. But for now, I'm going to use this basil at Dollar Tree. So I am going to come out periodically and show you guys how everything is growing. Maybe I'll post some pictures too. I'm going to get back up now. And I'm going to sow this basil. Guys, I hate being on the ground. I do have a pillow cushion over here too. Oh, there's Asa. So, I've only grew basil from a transplant. Okay. So just a little, 1/4 inches deep. So, here. I'm going to give it a little sprinkle, guys. See what it do, okay? I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more down. So they're little black seeds. That's about it. Previously, when I started gardening, I would bury the seeds, literally. I thought a funeral needed to happen. I mean, I was digging. So I found out that's not what you do. So as always, I'm going to get up. I'm going to give it a light watering. Thank you guys for coming. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, let's do it together.